It's been 6 months since Aris walked away from her old life and chose mine. 6 months of quiet. And then the past drove into town in a $200,000 car. If you're new here, you're catching up at a complicated time. For those who don't know, my name is Leo. I'm a furniture restorer. The woman I love, Dr. Julian Thorne, is a surgeon. She showed up on my porch one rainy morning, running from a life that looked perfect on paper but felt empty inside. It all started with a joke I made about my couch being free. I never thought she'd take me up on it. She stayed. We fell in love. When her old world, the one with 7-figure offers and corner offices, came calling, she chose this one, the messy one, with me. We thought that was the end of the story. We were wrong. That $200,000 car, it belonged to her ex-husband, Dr. Julian Thorne. The first 6 months were easy. Easier than I deserved. It was the first time in my life I wasn't just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Aris had used the cash she'd insisted on giving me, the money I'd left untouched on the counter for a month, and invested it. Not in stocks, but in me. "Your workshop is losing heat, Leo," she'd said one night in November, her hands wrapped around a mug, her breath fogging in the kitchen. "And that table saw wobbles. It's a miracle you have 10 fingers." So we winterized the shop. We insulated, put in a new cast iron stove. I bought a new saw, one that didn't threaten to buck back every time I fed it oak. The house, which had survived on my grandfather's savings and my good enough repairs, started to breathe. Aris found her own rhythm. The first month, she slept. Just slept. Like she was recovering from a decade-long surgery. Then she started walking by the river, then running. By Christmas, she was volunteering at the Southtown Community Clinic, the one down on Water Street, the one that smells like stale coffee and disinfectant. Dr. Patel, who runs it, didn't know what to do with her. Here was this world-class surgeon, famous in her field, offering to check blood pressures and file charts. She organized my entire patient database in 2 days, he told me at the diner, shaking his head. "I think she's scaring my nurse." I just grinned. "You'll get used to it." But even in the quiet, the old ghosts lingered. My ghosts. Jenna's words. I need more than potential. They were a scar. I'd look at Aris, watch her read a complex medical journal by the light of the lamp she rewired, and that feeling would creep in. The feeling of being the before picture, the rustic, charming project before the real thing comes along. I was making more money than ever. The restoration business was booming, thanks to the new tools and the word of mouth Aris's presence seemed to generate. But I was still the guy covered in sawdust, and she was still the woman who could put a man's heart back together. The gap felt dangerous. It was a Tuesday in April, the kind of perfect spring day that feels like a reward. I was in the shop, sanding down a 19th century chest, the smell of cherry wood filling the air. Aris was at the clinic, and that's when I saw it. A car. A black something long and low and so expensive it looked like it was actively repelling the gravel on my driveway. It idled for a second, a silent black panther assessing its territory. Then the door opened. He was tall, maybe 40. He wore a suit, but not a suit like the ones you see at the bank. This was a dark gray, tailored. It looked less like clothing and more like a second, more expensive skin. He had dark hair, silver at the temples, and a smile that belonged on a billboard. He didn't look lost. He looked like he had just purchased the air I was breathing. He walked right up to the workshop, not the house. Smart. He walked right up to the workshop, not the house. Smart. He walked right up to the workshop, not the house. Smart. "Leo Vance?" he asked. His voice was smooth, baritone, the kind of voice that gives bad news and makes you say thank you. "That's me." I wiped my hands on a rag, suddenly aware of the sawdust in my hair. He stepped into the shop, his eyes scanning everything, not with judgment, with appraisal. Impressive. A modern B-spline leveler and a V-block plane. You know your tools. I get by. Can I help you with something? He turned that smile on me. It didn't reach his eyes. I'm Julian Thorne. My hand, still holding the rag, just stopped. Thorne. Aris's name. The one she dropped legally, but that still followed her. I'm Aris's husband, he said. Ex-husband, I said. My voice was tight. He chuckled, a soft, dismissive sound. Ah, yes, the paperwork, always so final. You must be the restorer. He ran a manicured finger over the cherry chest. She always did love a project. There it was, the word, project. It hit me like a physical blow. She's not here, I said, moving to block the chest, a stupid, primitive instinct. Protect the wood. I know, Julian said, still smiling. She's at that charming little clinic. Commendable. Very earthy. He looked at me, the smile finally fading into something more like a medical assessment. I'm not here for her, Leo. Not yet. I'm here for you. I don't have anything to say to you. Oh, I think you do. Or at least you'll want to listen. He pulled a business card from his suit jacket. We're staying at the Southtown Inn. My treat. 7 p.m. Dinner. Just us. We should talk. We've got nothing to talk about. Don't we? He gestured around the shop. This is a lovely little setup you have. This house. This life. It's a wonderful story. He leaned in, his voice dropping. But you and I both know every story has an ending. He placed the card on the workbench, right next to my sandpaper, and walked out. The black car started, silent as a shadow, and was gone. I stood there for a long time. The smell of cherry wood was gone. All I could smell was expensive cologne. Aris came home an hour later, her face flushed from the walk, her hair tied back with one of my bandanas. She was smiling. You will not believe the day I had, she said, dropping her bag and kissing me. She smelled like lavender soap and coffee. Dr. Patel finally let me suture a patient, a real live human. Old Mr. Henderson, he cut his hand opening a can of... Leo, what's wrong? I was just staring at her. How do you say it? How do you tell the person you love that the monster from their old life isn't just real, but he's here, and he knows your name? Nothing, I lied. Just tired. Long day. She frowned, her surgeon's eyes catching the lie, dissecting it. You sure? You look pale. I'm fine. I forced a smile. Tell me about Mr. Henderson. As she talked, animated and brilliant, I watched the business card on the workbench. Southtown Inn, 7 p.m. I felt the floorboards under my feet, the ones that had groaned when she first crossed the threshold. The house had felt so safe. Now it felt like a stage, and the curtain was just going up. I didn't go to dinner. I threw the card in the wood stove and watched the edges curl to black. I told myself it was a power move, that I was denying him the meeting. But as 7 p.m. came and went, my stomach was in knots. I kept looking out the window, expecting the Bentley to reappear. Aris was quiet during dinner. The risotto she'd made, the one that had become our meal, tasted like ash. Okay, spill, she said, putting her fork down. You've been silent for 3 hours. And you're humming, but it's not the good kind. It's the, I'm about to break a tool hum. What happened? I looked at her. Her eyes, clear and demanding, the eyes that had seen me at my worst, barefoot and blinking on a rainy porch. I'd promised myself I'd never lie to her. Your ex-husband was here, I said. The color drained from her face. Not just her cheeks, her whole essence. She went from being my Aris, warm and vibrant, back to Dr. Thorne, the woman in the penthouse, cold, controlled, guarded. Julian? She whispered. Here? At the house? In the workshop. He knows his tools. She stood up, her chair scraping the floor.
She started pacing, just like she had in the guest room that first week. What did he want? What did he say? Did he threaten you?
No, I said. Worse. He was polite. He invited me to dinner. To talk. Aris stopped pacing. She looked at me, and I saw something I hadn't seen since that first night. Fear. Leo, listen to me, she said, her voice low and intense. You can't meet him. You can't talk to him. He's not like other people. He doesn't argue. He wins. He rearranges the board until you're in checkmate, and you don't even know you're playing. I didn't go, I said. I burned the card. The relief that washed over her was so strong, she had to grip the back of the chair. Good. Okay. Good. She took a deep breath. He'll leave. He always leaves when he's bored. We don't engage. We don't play. Aris, I said gently, he's not here for a fight. He's here for you. He called you a project. Her eyes snapped shut. He knows where to cut, she murmured. She opened them. It doesn't matter. We're here. He's out there. This is our home. He can't get in unless we let him. But she was wrong. He was already in. He was at our table, sitting between us, a ghost in a $1,000 suit. The next day, the town was buzzing. Mrs. Gladys happened to stop by while I was fixing her porch swing. That poor man, she said, fanning herself. What man, Mrs. G? Why, that lovely gentleman at the inn, a doctor, Dr. Thorne. He was at the diner and he paid for everyone's breakfast, just put it on his card. Said he was so moved by the small town charm. My stomach tightened. He did he? Oh, yes, and so handsome. Looked like he stepped right out of a magazine. But sad, terribly sad. Said he was here, what was it, scouting a charitable investment for the hospital? I stopped swinging. The hospital. Yes, something about a new wing for trauma? He said he was looking for a local expert to run it, someone with world-class experience and a local's heart. I let go of the swing. I knew, with the certainty of a man watching a storm roll in, exactly who he was talking about. This wasn't an attack, it was a siege, and he just brought in the trebuchet. When I got back to the house, Aris was on the porch, on her laptop. She looked up, and the look on her face, it was the same one she'd had when she was staring at her phone in the penthouse. What's wrong? I asked. I just got an email, she said, her voice flat, from the board at Southtown General, the local hospital. Let me guess, I said, sitting down heavily on the steps. A generous anonymous donor wants to build a new trauma wing, and they want you to run it. She looked at me, her eyes wide. How did you know? He paid for everyone's breakfast at the diner, I said. This isn't subtle, even for him, she said, more to herself than to me. What is he doing? He's not trying to drag you back to the city, Aris, I said, the pieces clicking into place. He's bringing the city to you. He's not giving you a choice between two worlds. He's terraforming. He's changing this world to match his. Aris stared at the laptop, at the offer, and offered to be chief of surgery right here in our town, an offer to build something from the ground up with a blank check. It was her dream and her nightmare all in one. It's a trap, she whispered. I know, but it's also a trauma wing. Our clinic, it's not enough. We had to send a kid to Hartford last week for a compound fracture. We lost an hour. Her head snapped up. Don't you dare defend this. I'm not, I said, raising my hands. I'm just saying it's a smart trap. He's not using a stick. He's using a carrot, a giant, life-saving, community-changing carrot. He's using people, she shot back.
He's using Mr. Henderson's broken hand and that kid's fracture as pawns. He doesn't care about this town. He cares about winning. She slammed the laptop shut. I'm not responding. But she didn't delete the email. I saw her later that night after she thought I was asleep. She was back on the porch, the blue light of the laptop screen illuminating her face, her expression caught between fury and something else. Hope? The siege continued. Julian Thorne became the town's favorite person. He was everywhere. He bought new uniforms for the high school football team. He pledged a matching grant to the library's restoration fund. He was charming. He was generous.
And he never once approached Aris. He didn't have to. The town was doing it for him. Dr. Thorne, you have to talk to him, Dr. Patel begged her, right in our kitchen. He'd come over ostensibly for coffee. Do you know what a level 3 trauma center would mean for us? For this community? It's a game changer, Aris. It's lives. It's a bribe, VJ, Aris said, her voice cold. Then it's the best bribe we've ever been offered. Who cares where the money comes from if it saves Mrs. Gladys from a stroke? Aris felt the walls closing in. The town saw her as the roadblock, the one person standing between them and a medical miracle. And Julian? Julian was the savior. The pressure was getting to her. She stopped sleeping. She started pacing again, those late-night walks around the guest room, except now they were in our room. Back and forth, back and forth. The house, our sanctuary, was becoming a cage. And he was still leaving me alone. Which was, I realized, the most insulting part. He'd identified me as a non-threat, a piece of the furniture, the project his wife was working on. Then he made his move on me. It was a Saturday. Aris was at the clinic, taking an extra shift to think, she said. I was in the shop, trying to lose myself in the grain of a stubborn piece of walnut. The Bentley pulled up. Julian got out. This time he wasn't in a suit. He was wearing jeans. Dark, expensive-looking jeans, a crisp white shirt and a cashmere sweater thrown over his shoulders. He looked like a catalog model pretending to be a normal person. Leo, he said, that smooth, confident voice, we need to talk, for real this time. I told you we have nothing to talk about. I disagree. He walked into the shop. She's pulling away from me, but she's pulling away from you too, isn't she? I stopped sanding. Get out. Is she sleeping or is she pacing? Is she in your bed staring at the ceiling, wondering if she made a catastrophic mistake? Is she polite to you? Is the house getting quiet again? He knew. Every word was a perfectly aimed dart, hitting every insecurity I had. She's brilliant, he continued, walking deeper into my space, but she's a surgeon. She's binary. It's life or death, success or failure. She doesn't know how to live in the good enough. She tried. I'll give her that. She tried to live in this rustic, charming potential. He spat the word. Potential. Jenna's word. I felt the blood drain from my face. Oh, you didn't know? Julian said, feigning surprise. I had a chat with her. Jenna, your ex. Very illuminating. She told me all about your 5-year plan, or lack thereof. He had... what? He'd found Jenna? You're sick, I whispered. I'm thorough, he corrected. Aris is my wife, in every way that matters. This little adventure, it's over. She's a thoroughbred, Leo. You can't keep her in a draft horse barn. She's bored, and she's starting to realize it. She's not bored. She's stressed because of you. Am I? He smiled. Or am I just the mirror, showing her what she's given up? Showing you what you can't provide? He reached into the pocket of his jeans. He pulled out not a wallet, but a simple bank blue envelope. He tossed it on the workbench. It landed with a soft thud. What's that? I said, my voice hoarse. It's your 5-year plan, Leo. It's your potential, fully realized. I looked at him. Go on, open it. My hands were shaking. I picked it up. It wasn't sealed. Inside wasn't a letter, it was a check. A cashier's check. My eyes scanned the numbers. 500,000. $500,000, Julian said, his voice a soft, reasonable purr. $500,000, tax-free, a gift, for the inconvenience. I stared at the number. $500,000, more money than my grandfather had left me, more money than this house was worth, enough to build a new workshop, a new life. What is this for? I asked, but I already knew. It's for you to go, to pursue that potential. Go to California, open a high-end restoration business. God knows you have the talent. You're a good carpenter, Leo, but you're just not in her league. He stepped closer. She'll be miserable for a week, and then she'll be relieved. You know I'm right. You know she's too much for you. You feel it. Every time she uses a word you don't know, or when she talks about her old life, you see the pity in her eyes. She doesn't pity me, I growled. Doesn't she? Then why does she fix your house? He shot back. Why does she organize your tools? Why does she cook your meals? It's not love, Leo. It's pity. It's a project. You're her charity case, and she's getting tired of it. He tapped the check. This isn't a bribe. It's a severance package for both of you. You get to be the man who walked away with his pockets full. You get to win for once, and she gets to come home. I looked at the check. $500,000. I thought of Jenna. I thought of the unpaid credit card bills I used to have. I thought of the life I could build. Take the money, Leo, Julian said, his voice kind, like a doctor telling you the surgery was a success. Be the man she can't have, not the project she's stuck with. It's the most loving thing you could possibly do. He smiled, turned, and left. The Bentley started. He was gone. I was left alone in the workshop, the smell of walnut, the sawdust in my hair, and a check for $500,000 in my hand. I didn't tell her. How could I? How do you start that conversation? Hey, honey, your ex-husband offered me $500,000 to leave you, and the worst part is he found my ex-girlfriend and used her words to tear me apart. It was disgusting, and it was tempting. Not the money, not really. It was the idea of being more than potential, the idea of showing up in 5 years with a booming business and saying, see? I hid the check. I put it in an old coffee can in the back of the shop, the one I keep bent nails. I went back to sanding the walnut, but my hands were shaking so hard I was scoring the wood. Aris came home late. She looked exhausted. He's not giving up, she said. She didn't even say hello. Who? I said, playing dumb. Julian. He's flying in the board from the city, from my old hospital, for a consultation at Southtown General. He's not asking anymore. He's just doing it. So fight him, I said, my voice sharper than I intended. She recoiled. What? Fight him. You're Aris Thorne. You're the smartest person I know. You faced him down before. Do it again. It's not that simple, she yelled, and the sudden volume in the quiet house was shocking. It wasn't simple then, and it's not simple now. You don't know him. You don't know what he's capable of. And you don't know what I'm capable of, I yelled back, the words tearing out of me. Or maybe you do. Maybe you just think I'm this project. The word was out, hanging in the air between us. Aris froze. Her face, which had been angry, just crumbled. What did you just say? A project, I said. Quieter now, the anger gone, just hollow. Like your ships and bottles, something to fix, to keep your hands busy, a little broken thing to make you feel, what, normal, good about yourself? Leo, no, she whispered, walking towards me. Don't do this. That's his voice. That's not you. Isn't it?
I stepped back. He was right, wasn't he? Jenna was right. I'm just potential. I'm the guy who lives in his grandpa's house, covered in sawdust, while you could be saving the world, and instead, you're here, pitying me. Pitying you? Her voice was rising again. I don't pity you. I love you. I left everything for you. I'm here, aren't I? I'm right here, sleeping in your bed, trying to build a life. And you're throwing his words at my head. I'm not. Yes, you are. Project, potential. That's Julian. That's his poison. She stopped, her eyes narrowing. Wait, you said his voice. When did you talk to him? I thought you burned the card. The lie. It was small, but it was there. And she sought it. He came by. The shop. Today. Today? She said. You've been letting this fester all day? You let me come home and you attacked me? What did he say to you, Leo? What did he do? I couldn't tell her about the check. It felt shameful. It felt like I had done something wrong just by being given it. He knows about Jenna. He talked to her. He knows where to cut. I'd used her own words, and it was a mistake. Aris's face hardened. She stepped back. He talked to Jenna, and you believed him. You believed him. Over me. Over the last 6 months. Aris, no, save it. Her voice was ice. The surgeon was back, the one who'd stood in the penthouse, arms crossed. I need some air. She grabbed her keys, not the house keys, the car keys, the Audi. Aris, wait! I need to think, Leo, she said, her hand on the doorknob. And for the first time, this house feels smaller than the penthouse ever did. It's suffocating. And she left. I watched the red taillights of the Audi disappear down the street. The house was silent. The radiator hissed. The sound that had become our background music, now it just sounded lonely. I had done it. Julian hadn't won. I had lost. I had taken the most secure, real thing in my life, and I'd broken it just by listening to the poison of a man I barely knew. I didn't sleep. I sat in the workshop, the $500,000 check on the workbench in front of me. I sat there all night. She didn't come home. I must have dozed off, my head on the workbench. The sun was streaming through the dusty windows when I heard a car. I jolted up, my heart pounding. Relief. She was back. I ran out of the shop. It wasn't the Audi. It was the Bentley. Julian stepped out. He was in his suit again. He looked sympathetic. He said, "She didn't come home, did she?" I stared at him, my mind thick with sleep and self-loathing. "She's at the inn," Julian said. "She showed up at my door at 3 a.m., devastated. She told me what you said. Project. That was a good one. Cut deep." You did this," I growled. I just held up a mirror, Leo. You're the one who smashed it." He sighed, a theatrical, sad sound. "She's confused. She feels guilty for leaving you. She's worried about what you'll do." He walked towards me. "Which is why I'm here. I'm giving you a way out. A way for both of you to save face." He gestured to the Bentley. "The check. Do you have it?" I was frozen. "Get the check, Leo. Give it to me. We'll make this a transaction. You're not a broken-hearted lover. You're a smart businessman. You provided a service, a safe harbor for my wife, and now I'm paying you for it." He was offering me an alibi for my broken heart. "Go on," he urged. "It's cleaner this way. She gets to go back to her life without the guilt of abandoning the poor carpenter. And you get to be rich.
Everybody wins. I thought about it. I really did. I thought about the emptiness of the house, the look on her face when she'd left, the suffocating feeling. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was the one holding her back. Maybe the most loving thing I could do was let her go. "The check," I said. My voice was a croak. "Yes," Julian said, a small, triumphant smile playing on his lips. "It's in the shop." I turned and walked into the shop. The coffee can, the bent nails, the check was right there. I picked it up. $500,000. I walked back out. Julian was waiting, his hand slightly outstretched. "A wise decision," he said. "You're right. It is a transaction. It's cleaner this way." I walked right past him. "Leo?" he said, his voice losing his smoothness for the first time. "What are you doing?" I walked to the Bentley. It was unlocked. The keys were probably in his pocket. But the window was down an inch. I took the check, I folded it, and I slipped it through the open window, letting it fall onto the plush leather seats. Then I turned to Julian. "What are you? I don't understand," he said. "You're right, Julian. It's a transaction. You paid for my service. The check is in the car. It's your money, and you can keep it." What? "And you're right about something else," I said, walking until I was standing right in front of him. He was taller than me, but I didn't care. I am a project, and she is a project. We're both projects. That's what people are. We're just unfinished. We're broken. We're potential. I grabbed the word, his word, Jenna's word, and I took it back. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life showing her, working on that potential. Together. We're not a story, Julian. We're a workshop. And we're not done yet. You're insane," he stammered. "You're walking away from $500,000 for what? A feeling?" "For her," I said. "Now get off my property." He stared at me. The mask was gone. I saw him, really saw him. Not a monster, just a man. A rich, lonely, sad man who'd lost the only thing he couldn't buy. He got in his car. He didn't look at me. He started the engine and the Bentley pulled away. I stood there, my hands empty. I was still broke. I was still covered in sawdust. And she was still gone. I hadn't won. I'd just chosen. I walked to the end of the driveway. I didn't know what to do. Should I go to the inn? Beg her to come back? I didn't have to. The Audi was coming down the street. It pulled up right behind where the Bentley had been. Aris got out. She was still in yesterday's clothes. Her hair was a mess. Her eyes were red. We just looked at each other across the gravel driveway. I went to the inn to tell him to go to hell. I know. He was here. I saw him. I saw the Bentley leaving. What happened? He offered me $500,000 to go, to make it clean. Her face crumbled. "Leo." I gave it back, I said. Aris just stared. "You what?" I told him to keep his money. I told him we're a workshop. A small sound escaped her. A laugh? A sob? I couldn't tell. She took a step, then another. Then she was running. She crossed the driveway and she slammed into me, her arms wrapping around my neck, her face burying in my shoulder. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I'm so sorry. Suffocating? What is wrong with me? I got scared. He sounded like him, and you sounded like him." "I know," I said. holding her, my face in her hair. It smelled like rain. And my house. I'm sorry. I let him in. I let his poison in. He talked about Jenna. She pulled back, her hands on my face. Hey, look at me. Who talked about Jenna? Julian. He found her. He told me. He said I was just potential. Aris's eyes, which were soft and tearful, suddenly went hard. A cold, surgical fury. What? It's okay, I said. He was right. I am. But I'm your potential, right? She didn't smile. Where is he? Is he at the inn? Aris, no, let it go. He's gone. No, she said, her voice a low, dangerous hum. He's not. Not yet. She pulled away from me, marched to her car, and got in. Aris, what are you doing? Get in, she said. What? Why? Get in the car, Leo. I got in. She put the car in gear and spun gravel, heading straight for the Southtown Inn. Aris, I said, gripping the dash, this is a bad idea. He's not worth it. You're right, she said, her eyes fixed on the road. But we are. She pulled into the inn's parking lot. The Bentley was there. Okay. She took a deep breath. She turned to me. I love you. You're my home. You're not my project. You're my partner. Got it? Got it, I said, my heart thumping. Good. Now stay here and maybe call the police. What? Kidding. Mostly. She got out of the car. She walked into the lobby of the Southtown Inn. I watched her go. She wasn't the woman who'd shown up on my porch, scared and broken. She wasn't the woman who'd fled my house last night. She was Dr. Aris Thorne, and she was going to war. I couldn't stay in the car. I ran in, just in time to see her intercept Julian at the elevator. And that is why, you manipulative bastard, if you ever contact anyone in my life or my partner's life again, I will personally make it my mission to see your medical license, your board certifications, and your precious charitable status reviewed for ethical violations. Julian looked pale. Aris, this is not... I'm not done, she said. You came into my home. You threatened my partner. You tried to buy him. You contacted his ex-girlfriend? Are you insane? The lobby was silent. Even the receptionist was frozen, a phone receiver held mid-air. My potential? Aris was saying, her voice shaking with rage. Leo has more integrity, more worth in one of his sawdust-covered fingernails than you have in your entire, empty, 7-figure life. He built me back. He fixed me. And he did it for free. She stepped back. The trauma wing? It's a great idea. I'll run it, but not with your name on it. I'll find other donors. I'll have a bake sale. I don't care. But your money, your poison, is not welcome in this town. Or in my life. She turned. We're leaving. She grabbed my hand and pulled me. We walked out of the lobby, leaving Julian Thorne standing for the first time in his life, utterly, completely checkmated. We got in the car. We sat there for a second. The silence. Then I started to laugh. Aris looked at me. What? A bake sale? You're going to raise $10 million with a bake sale? She looked at me, and then she smiled. A real, wide-open, glorious smile. And she started to laugh. That laugh I'd heard once before, watching Before Sunrise. We sat in that car in the parking lot of the Southtown Inn and laughed until we cried. When we got home, the house felt bigger. The suffocating feeling was gone. It was just our house. Aris walked into the kitchen, grabbed the envelope of cash that was still on the counter, the original 3 weeks' rent, and stuffed it in my shirt pocket. "What's this for?" I asked. "Bake sale," she said. "You're my first donor." That night, we didn't talk about Julian. We didn't talk about Jenna. We didn't talk about money. We went to the workshop. I showed her the half-finished cherry chest. "It's beautiful," she said, running her hand over the wood I'd gouged. "But what's this?" "That," I said, "is what happens when you let a ghost hold your tools." She picked up a piece of sandpaper. "Well," she said, her eyes meeting mine, "good thing I'm a surgeon. I'm good with my hands. Show me how to fix it." And so I did. We stood in that workshop late into the night, side by side. The house was quiet, the radiator hissed, and we just worked. We're still a workshop. It's still messy. It's still potential. We actually did have a bake sale. Mrs. Gladys's brownies are apparently legendary. We raised $1,200. It's not a trauma wing, but it's a start. Julian, he's gone. The hospital board, however, is still interested, especially after Aris negotiated with them using some of Julian's own tactics. She's Dr. Aris Thorne, and she's a shark, and I've never loved her more. As for me, I'm still here, still covered in sawdust. But I'm not a project. I'm not potential. I'm just hers. Thank you for listening to part 2. It's funny. The first fight in a new relationship is always the scariest. It feels like the end of the world. But sometimes it's the thing that finally burns away the ghosts of the past. We all have a Julian in our lives, that voice that tells us we're not good enough, that we're just potential. What's the ghost you're proud of finally facing down? Let me know your story in the comments. I read them all. And until next time, thanks for being here.